Hey guys, this is Kirob speaking, and in today's little dev update we are going to talk about the latest additions to the Unreal version of automation. We've just finished up most of the engine designer and have moved on to working mainly on the car designer. And let me first show you the latest additions and polishing of the engine designer. So if we go in here, you can see that our side panel is now working properly. Let's go and change something so that we have the side panel update. And yes, stats show, like I've shown you before, you have different modes and you can compare your engine and stuff. But also we have included back in the hold and revert functionality, but a little clearer this time around. So if I want to change this working engine, then I can hold this engine and you see that two more buttons activate, and that shows you, like, depending on which button you click. Let's say we change these things around. So now we have two different engines. Later on they would show up both here in this graph. This is not quite done yet, as the current comparison mode for engines is right now still a little bit broken, so it's not activated. But we are working on that. So what does this one do? So you have two buttons now, which hopefully make it clear. Abandon held engine. Yes, that's a little mini bug right there. But you can see the highlighted stats are the ones you are going to keep, and that will be made clearer in this little tooltip as well. So you can either keep your changes or discard your changes. Let's say we discard our changes, and you can see the selections revert back, and all the stats here are changing accordingly as well. Now let's take a look at an engine which doesn't quite work as well. But first, by the way, the line width suddenly is working. Now this looks much more proper than previously. What doesn't look proper right now is that there's no rounding applied to the RPM figures. But that is an easy fix after all. So now, wait a second. This is also something. You see these fancy animations? Whee! The window is dropping down. Also, look at this. Isn't it fancy? You can later on... Oh, no! I accidentally scrolled over an engine, which gives me, like I said, the comparison tool is broken. So this is opening up an engine for comparison, but then it gives you errors as soon as you hover over something, because it's just not activated currently and not working. Anyway, so let's deactivate this mode, but rather go into selecting an engine mode. And this is new as well. You can add a variant, a raw variant, just by clicking this plus button, or you can go in here and edit or revise engines. And yeah, there are different ways of, like this top figure here, which I can't point to because then it becomes a button. That one is currently weight. We can sort them by power. There will be different filter options. They're currently deactivated because it was looking pretty much terrible. We are going to take a look now at this crappy variant of the working engine. So let's edit this one. And we see, oh yeah, it's a high performance engine and it sounds really good because performance, right? So. Alright, enough of that. And yes, much higher performance. But you can see, yes, there are a few errors here, or problems with this engine. So this side panel now works correctly. It has a knocking indicator, how much reliability is decreased by it for that part itself, and knocking would apply to the whole engine. And then piston are two fields here, and one is for this one here, which is torque, and this one here is RPM. So that's all good, and we can see, like, the reliability modifier for the pistons is pretty shit because we are revving them too high. And the lower value, like I explained in the previous video, basically gives you a hint of where you would have to place your limiter in order to make them not explode or want to explode. I want to show you the warning system, which I talked about before, but it had not been implemented at that point. So let's hover over this one and see what it says. Oh, warning, warning, warning. So here you can see the pistons. So the warning system is much more intricate now than it was before. And you can see here, warning, okay, the pistons experience high level of RPM stress, consider lowering the RPM limit or improve the pistons. So it gives you, if it's just a warning, like in this case, it gives you like a suggestion how you can deal with that. If we go a little bit more extreme than this, and we see now it's blinking, and blinking means usually terrible. So, whoop, you see, a piston has failed due to excessive RPM stress. Try reducing the RPM limit or improve the conrods. Alright, what? This is mixed. This is mixed up. What the fuck? So, what will be happening here is that you get your warning messages and your failure notices and stuff, in case you don't want to play with this tab open and just see your engine all the time and its glowing exhaust, which will glow forever. Let's reset it. Yes, so that's the warning system, and those warnings of course come up like this as well. Alright, so that is that, and now let's talk about the car designer, shall we? Alright, and here we are, and we have a little spinny table with all kinds of models on top, as you can see here. And this is extremely preliminary, and you can see it's still a little bit weird, the textures aren't really there, and there are a few items which certainly don't have their final look yet. And let's just choose a car here, or, well, first explain what this is about, right? So you have your normal filters on here, where you can select cars. They are not currently working, so I'm not going to press them because that would crash the game. But they will be working just as you know from the current automation version. And you can then go here and select whatever car you want. The thing here with these selections is that all the variants are visible. And all the variants usually have a certain tag to them. Like, alright, there is one car model that has a hatchback version. But it also has a wagon version. It also has a sedan version. And this way you can see them all at once, and if we, for example, click on one, then they all align, and you can see the same family of cars just align where appropriate. And you can then see, all right, yeah, this one has a coupe, a hatch, and a wagon and a sedan, and they look this way. And let me just see if I like the butt of this one. Oh yes, oh sexy, yes. So once you have decided on one version to take, you just double click it and you have it sitting on its rails. Currently I can't really move the camera apart from zooming around, so you can't properly center it. But you can see, it already looks so much better than in normal automation. But in principle, like morphing is working, fixtures are working mostly. Still a little bit of work to do on them, but what I wanted to show you is this stuff is also kind of working. But yes, colors. We are moving away from the straight up color selector and want to make it a little bit more intricate, because Unreal Engine allows us to do some more fancy things, especially with car paint. So you see blueberry and rich red and brutal black and stuff here, but there's more to it. Of course you can make your own colors, and in principle, wow, look at this, so many options. Yes, there are so many options, and of course this is extremely preliminary, and it mostly doesn't work yet, but we are working these things out. So you can change your base color just as you would in automation. Right, yeah, saturation and brightness. So yeah, these sliders aren't working yet, and the pearl effect isn't working yet. But what is working, at least in principle, and not in strength moderation, is the flake effect, and I can show that one to you. So here we are very close to the car paint. Now let's activate all the flakes. Bam! Oh, look at it, how fancy. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of different options for you to create your own car paints. And yeah, also the coloring of the flakes currently isn't working, but this will be pretty fancy overall. So you will be able to make whatever car paint you like. Of course, this will be somewhat limited by what year you are in. In 1940, you will certainly not have this kind of paint available to you. Anyway, so this is kind of fancy, a nice flavor addition, so to say, to the game, but not really gameplay relevant, is it? And another one of these, not really relevant, but kind of nice things, is how we will change the fixture selection. Currently, there are no fixtures for me to show to you. They are only working in the actual dev build, which I'm right now not using, like I'm saying. But what I can talk about is this button here, favorites. You will now be able to favorite your fixtures, so that, for instance, for a specific car model, you have a lineup of fixtures you're using for all kinds of designs for this kind of series, for this model you have. And you don't want to go to the individual like tree-like structure for every one of these, but instead you have like the selected sub-variants of whatever you like already lined up here, so that you don't have to jump in between these. You will be able to go into these trees and then select your favorite variant, but that would then show up here as well, so that you don't have to jump around. Another thing that will be coming to automation is the rim selection will be moved into the cosmetic section here. So wheels will be your rim selection, so that you don't have to stare at fugly wheels all the time through the design until you finally reach your wheels. So moving on here, you will see a few more things that have been added, and the number plate has been a very popular thing to add. That is one of the main mods currently in the workshop that adds a few variants. You will be able to make your own number plates like this, with some standard templates and text. There it is, badge text, right. So you will be able to write your own pieces of text and place it on the car as 3D letters. And that is probably something that many of you will like to see as well, for those of you who like to pimp out their cars with those massive turbo badges. Okay, anyway, there is not much more to show for me here, as the rest is just a normal clicking through and very unfinished, extremely unfinished when it comes to the car. They don't calculate properly yet because they have some issues with sizes and downforce. I think Caswell yesterday built a car with something like 90 kilowatts of power, which had a top speed of, what was it, like 5 kilometers an hour, because it had like 1 trillion tons of downforce. And I'm not exaggerating with the 1 trillion tons. It was something crazy like trillion. So there's something going wrong with the general calculations, but it should be pretty easy to fix once we go through diligently and sort this all out. Alright, this is all I have to say for now. I'll keep you updated on the progress of the Car Designer implementation into the Unreal version of automation. And I hope you enjoyed, and see you guys next time.